Alright, so I want to do a quick compare and contrast on these two games. Both of them are highly, rated games, and they're like personally two of my favorite JRPGs. But I just wanted to kind of have an open discussion, open comparison, and then also invite, invite feedback, kind of like an open discussion thing. This is kind of just not too many research has gone behind this. This is purely subjective based, but just wanted to compare and contrast Final Fantasy 7 and then Persona 5, both Royale, and then also just the original. And obviously, when I'm talking about Final Fantasy 7, that's inclusive of all the versions. So the original, the remake, and then Rebirth, if you guys have played it. So let me know what you guys think. Like, which one do you think is the best? Or which one do you think has the better one? I actually when I was writing this down, I made a couple categories. So yeah, we have how many categories did I write down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Alright, so this is purely based off of the game. The first one is combat. So, actually, hold on, let me do the first one. The first one will be music. So both of these games, in my personal opinion, have a really good soundtrack. So, obviously, Persona 5, we know that it has the jazz fusion soundtrack. And I actually really like this soundtrack, to be honest. I like, I haven't played many games where there have been, there's been like jazz fusion, So, Shoji Meguro is the guy for, I think, like all of them. So, but, I think it adds a nice touch to the game. It kind of, really does a good job of like eliciting emotions throughout the game, so you don't really have to anticipate or like trying to understand what the characters are going through or what dialogue is going on throughout the game, because the music does such a good job of kind of explaining that or showcasing that. So I honestly would rate the music in Persona 5 like, I would say a 9, because even out of all the other series, Persona 5 has the best. Now, Final Fantasy, I really like the soundtrack to that also. So it's hard for me to compare the two. I think, Final Fantasy's soundtrack is really has a lot of beautiful composition, a lot of beautiful scores. We have the Aerith scene. We got like the battle scene. It really draws you in right from the beginning. I remember like the bomb mission, and then hearing the song like that was really drew me in. And I feel like that the music is it fits very well, and it does a really good job of like just telling the story kind of through that music. So yeah, I mean it's tough, man. Like, those two are very tough for me to choose from, but just based off my own experience, I would say, man, bro, I would say I'll give I want to give this Final Fantasy like an 8, or an 8 or a low 9. Like, so pretty much from that point, I would say like, Persona 5 takes it, and the only reason really why is because I cannot think of a bad song from that. Now, going into the next section, we have combat. So for me, I would say the combat and like I would say the combat in Persona is actually pretty good. It's pretty good in the fact that it's like dynamic, especially when you start understanding how the combat system works. You know, everything from combos to like just you know baton passes, you know, scaling the yeah, all those things, like how they integrate and work together. I would say that's good. Now, Final Fantasy, it's kind of tricky because we obviously have the original. So, regards to the original, I actually feel like the combat was better, just because it was a little bit more challenging, and you couldn't necessarily run away from boss battles, like the random encounters. You know, also the limit breaker system, you know, was pretty good. You had to kind of utilize which character would be used first. Over in Rebirth, I Rebirth is good. I do like Rebirth in the fact that it's like action based, you know, kind of hack and slash, and there's a lot of strategy involved with it, you know. But it's like, bro, the only character that like anyone wants to use is Cloud. You know what I mean? So in that kind of sense, it's a little bit one dimensional because you're pretty much running the game through Cloud. Like, I mean, let's be real. Like, no one's really playing as like, you know, like Yuffie or Barrett as their main, even though these characters aren't even that bad. But yeah, but I'm just saying, like, in comparison, Persona 5 has more characters that you can choose from. Like, that's fun to play as, and then no one's really no one's really a main. Although it does suck when Joker dies, the game ends. But all right. So, anyways, going on to the characters actually. So, yeah, I think for Final Fantasy, obviously, there's a lot of memorable characters. But I'm sorry, I sound like a Persona stan, and I'm really not, because Final Fantasy was the first game that JRPG that I got introduced to. But I think, like, just based on the characters, I like the Persona 5 characters a little bit more in depth, a little bit more fleshed out, and like this is going back to the fact that, like, you know, Cloud is pretty much the, like, if the story isn't revolving around Cloud, the other characters don't really have that much depth. I mean, yeah, their stories are fleshed out, but it's just, I feel like Persona 5 does a much better job of like fleshing out the characters, adding synergy to the characters, and then making them all kind of like the main character is not the main character. You know what I mean? You don't really realize that he's the main character. I mean, for goodness sakes, the bro is a mute character. You know what I'm saying? So you don't even get to hear his voice, and it kind of opens it up so that everyone has a chance to shine. But in freaking Final Fantasy, bro, you know Cloud's the main character, bro. Like, everyone's checking for him, all the girls are going after him, so it's like, yeah, he's definitely that main character. So I think as far as the characters go, I really like the Final Fantasy characters, but I think they flesh the characters out in freaking Persona a lot more. So again, another one goes to Persona. Now we have the villains. Okay, so the villains, bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro, Sephiroth is a freaking badass, but okay, you know what? I'll give it to Final Fantasy for this one because Sephiroth is dope. But Persona, there are villains, but there's not like a main villain. At least from what I've seen. I haven't actually been in the game yet, but I'm like pretty close to it, I'm sure. But yeah, there's not really a main villain, bro. Like, there's villains that, like, so there's villains like that you have to face, obviously, without giving you spoilers, to get into the castles, like. Okay, so I'll say this. I like Persona in the fact that the villains have a little bit more depth because you're changing their hearts. You know what I'm saying? So you're making them repent, essentially. But for Final Fantasy, like, the villains, okay, Sephiroth, yes, he does have a freaking backstory, like, you know, as to why he's a villain, but Persona characters, like, the villainy arc makes sense in a sense, you know, and they're somewhat redeemable. So Frick it, I'm gonna give that to Persona. Now for the main, I will say I do. If you like the traditional main, like main character energy that Cloud brings, okay, then Final Fantasy is probably your take. You're probably gonna like it more. However, in my opinion, though, like for Persona, when it comes to the main, like he's a mute character, so he doesn't really say anything. So you're kind of living through his events, but I don't know, man. I think each person has a different perspective. I do like Cloud as a main, but sometimes he's overpowering. Like he overpowers every other character. But I don't know. As far as like strength goes as a main character, I'd say Cloud takes it. But Joker, when it comes to Joker and his arc and backstory, it's kind of gives you more of an experience, like more of a user experience. You can put yourself in Joker's shoes because you have so much control over what the main character does. But I guess if we're talking traditional mains, yeah, I guess Cloud will take it. Character synergy, kind of already went over that, like the main characters, how they interact. I kind of gave that to Persona. And then I guess impact. So the impact of regarding freaking Final Fantasy, bro, it's pretty impactful, man. But also freaking Persona has been pretty impactful too. I didn't even realize that, bro. Like I was on Reddit, bro, and they were like saying, freaking multitudes of people are saying that Persona's impact is much greater than Final Fantasy's. I think that's a valid point, but I've definitely seen a lot of people cosplaying as Cloud. Haven't really seen many people, cosplaying as Joker, but I don't know. Maybe I haven't been looking around that much. But I think personally, for me, like what's impacted me personally, and this might just be like a boomer thing, but Final Fantasy's definitely impacted me a lot more than Persona. Persona just impacted me recently because it's only recently that I started playing it. But I'm not gonna lie, bro. I feel like Persona actually is like, and I don't want to hand this over to Persona, but it actually is the deeper game in a lot of aspects. Like just the way the game flows, like the way the story is being told is not confusing or convoluted. Because Final Fantasy, let's be honest, if you're not really listening in on it, it is a little bit convoluted. But anyways, I'll say impact goes to Final Fantasy. The locations, bro. So I'm not gonna lie, man. Like there's a few locations I hold near and dear to my heart for Final Fantasy. So like one of them being like the sector locations, obviously. And actually there's some locations I don't like, but like freaking what's that location, bro? Not the saucer. Oh, Costa del Sol. I love that place. I like this song. The dungeons, man, like location/dungeons. The dungeons in Final Fantasy, bro. I'll never forget freaking going into the Shinra headquarters, bro. In the original one, man. Freaking going down the freaking escalator, bro, or the elevator, bro, and then fighting that freaking machine, bro, that comes at us and starts trying to freaking shoot us, bro. Like even in the remake, that was done pretty well. So I do mess with the locations, bro, in Final Fantasy. But man, bro, sometimes when I'm playing Persona, dude, like it's so simple, but it works so well, bro. Like, because the locations, if you haven't played Persona, are actual, like in Japan, like real places, bro. So when I'm on the train, like I was literally just playing it yesterday, like the Royale for the Switch, because I downloaded it, and I'm like, man, bro, this is fire, bro. Like going through the Shibuya, like the train station, man. It's like, it's kind of like, how Grand Theft Auto, like you can like tell that you're in a like it's built to scale to a certain degree. I feel like that's what Persona is, man. And when I'm like going through the train station, bro, like going through Shibuya, man, or then just going to class, I'm just like, bro, this actually is appealing. This makes me want to go to Japan. which is what I'm planning on doing soon. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. It's just different because not every day do you see like a JRPG, base the locations, at least in the real world aspect of Persona, on real life. You know what I'm saying? And it actually looks pretty good. So yeah, it's just different, man. I like, okay, so let me say it like this: for the dungeon aspect, I'd probably like Final Fantasy a lot better, but for the real world aspect of the game, like the slice and life aspect, I definitely like Persona a lot better. Now, so yeah, I'm gonna give that like a 1.5, like a half and half for each. So, all right, mini games / side quests, bro. When I was playing Final Fantasy, those mini games were frustrating, dude. Not frustrating, but at least for the remakes, because the way that they insert those mini games, it's just time consuming, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not inserted in a way where like it makes sense. It's inserted like right at the climax of like the story or something. So say you're at a developing point in the story, at least when I was at Costa del Sol. So I don't know, but I do like some of the mini games in Final Fantasy, I'll be honest. Now, Persona also is minigame heavy. Like, both of these games, in my opinion, are very minigame heavy. But the thing about Persona minigames is they actually make sense, because you have to do the minigames in order to, like, increase your character buffs, you know what I mean? If you consider, like, going on dates or developing relationships with your comrades as minigames, then yeah, the mini games actually make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I kind of like the mini games a little bit better in Persona, because the mini games actually tie into the story. Same with the side quests. The side quests tie into the story. If they don't tie into the story, then they provide as a pivotal like point where you can get a stat buff. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're trying to make the boss battle a little bit more forgiving, you know what I'm saying? The freaking relationships and the confidence that you develop with your companions in the party, they help significantly. You know what I'm saying? Like, having to have a second baton pass in addition to your combos, you know what I'm saying? And like developing those relationships helps a lot. So I'm not really a huge mini game person, I'll be honest, but I'm gonna say it like this: like, mini games for Persona are at least better. They're easier. Like, they're at least more rewarding. Let me put it like that. But the mini games for Final Fantasy, some of them are rewarding, but some of them just don't make any sense, bro. And they just have you on a goose chase. So yeah, I'm gonna put that for one character mini game / side quest. The last category that I drafted up was the freaking boss fights, bro. So the boss fights, dude, in my opinion, like, man, bro. Alright, so this is kind of tough because I haven't beaten either of the games, to be official, I'll be honest. But alright, boss fights for Final Fantasy, bro. The boss fights for the remakes, bro, they're fun, but they be taking a long ass time, bro. Some of them take a long time, bro. Like, especially when I was fighting against the freaking character with the green freaking smog or whatever, bro. That bro was one shot in my butt, bro. I was like, yo, how is this dude one shotting me? Because I didn't understand that you had to have like freaking you had to have freaking like he had to keep on attacking him, bro, so he doesn't use his freaking move that will just one shot the whole party, bro. I was getting frustrated, but man, I don't know. The boss fights are fun. They're unique. You know, some of them, my favorites were Vincent. You know, the freaking first boss battle that you fight, the machines and all that stuff. So I do like the boss fights a lot in Final Fantasy, because they're unique. Like fighting Shinra, you know, fighting the whole staff and everyone, the hierarchy. I think those are pretty fun, you know, especially when how it ties into the characters' backstories. I do like that. Persona 5 boss fights. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like when we had to freaking fight Komashira, that dude was kind of pissed me off. Like I was like, the difference between Final Fantasy and Persona is like Final Fantasy starts off fast, bro. Like you start the game off in out of the gate, bro. Like you're like, oh shoot, you're doing this mission, you jump off the train, you know what I'm saying? You're about to blow up in your headquarters. Like, bro, come on. Yo, tell me that's not fire, bro. Tell me that's not like whoa, like from 0 to 100 real quick. But Persona, bro, it takes, I mean, yeah, you do have the casino part, but it takes a while to build up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But once it builds up, it's solid, but it just takes a while. So yeah, I don't know. I think I like the Final Fantasy 7 boss fights just a little bit more. Like I like Persona, like the boss fights, like when you have, like I like the songs and I like the speed of it, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. Sometimes the Persona boss fights are just a little bit more entertaining, in my opinion. But yeah, man, that was just a short, just kind of gamer like rant type thing. I was just thinking about those two games. I just wanted to compare it, but I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about Persona 5? What do you think about Final Fantasy 7? Have you played them both? Have you not played any of them? If you dig this kind of content, like and subscribe to the channel because it helps the algorithm. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything against those games. Both the developers are solid, bro, when it comes to JRPGs or just RPGs in general. Square Enix is solid, tried and true. Atlas is also pretty solid, tried and true. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think.